the slow, meticulous run on occasion. But now you see why they're the best mid-range team in the league. They have the best mid-range shooter. They got other guys, Vucevic and Lavine, that can get in there as well.
That shot counted by Kelly Olynyk, so he hits the three as the horn sounds, and the Jazz will lose this game by 7. Olynyk with 23, a 32-point night for Markkanen in Utah when they closed out this game 5 of 20 from downtown after that explosive 14 of 29 performance. And the Jazz lose for the 5th straight time. Time to play the game, brought to you by Morgan Jewelers, always brilliant.
Well, Jordan Clarkson, not a great shooting night for him, but beautiful pass in midair.
9 assists for Jordan.
3 Chicago Bulls players to Kelly Olynyk. You're right, Holly, 9 assists for him.
29 in all for the Jazz, but they still lose by 7. Stick around. Jazz Post Game presented by Siegfried and Jensen.
Lord, thank you very much. Yeah, coming up on Jazz Post Game, another tough ending, close game for the Jazz. Mike Smith here to break it all down. We'll hear from Will Hardy and players at the podium, and we'll get you ready for the Clippers. Jazz Post Game starts right now. Welcome to Jazz Post Game, presented by Siegfried and Jensen, helping injured people throughout Utah for over 30 years. Final score of 114-107 as the Jazz fall to the Chicago Bulls. They led at the half by 7. Eliminated alongside Mike Smith. The second half, really all Bulls. You mentioned this when we did the Jazz halftime, which was that you can expect the Bulls to make a run, and DeMar DeRozan specifically, which he did.
Yeah, he only had 4 points at halftime, and I just thought he's playing too well. He's too good a player. He's too savvy, too smart. He's been around too long, 33 years in the league, or 33 years of age, 5-time All-Star. I just expected a response from him, and what you got from DeRozan was not only a great third quarter by the Bulls, where they outscored the Jazz 33-20. That was a little bit of a cushion, but down the stretch, it was too much DeRozan, too much in his favorite spot, and there's really nothing you can do to stop him. You mentioned it in the pregame before I even got here, how big he is. He's 6'8", almost 6'9", and when he gets the ball at the elbow, they even tried Markkanen on him. He's too big. He's too big, too strong, pump fake. He's going to get to his spots.
All right, let's get to the Built Ford Proud Built Ford leading stores, brought to you by your local Ford stores. Visit buyfordnow.com. Markkanen, by the way, 24 points in the first half. That is a career high for points in a half. Kelly Olynyk, he finishes with 23, 32, by the way, from Markkanen. DeMar DeRozan on the other side, 26. Zach Lavine with 20.
It's only the third time the Jazz go down when Markkanen scores 20 or more. They've been 10-2. 6 times this year, Olynyk goes for 20 or more. I think one of the biggest surprises in this game, you might have expected DeRozan and Lavine to do what they did. That's what they've been doing of late. Those are their season numbers. DeRozan even more than that, so a great second half. But Jordan Clarkson with 1 bucket after the first quarter, only 1 free throw after halftime. So without Mike Conley and then no output from Clarkson, you really were at the Bulls' mercy. And I really felt like this was the Jazz. And a really turnover at about the 3:43, which preceded that was critical for 4 straight.
The Jazz was at 6-15 from the charity strike. Not a good night. All right, we'll come back. We got more on the way as the Jazz fall to the Chicago Bulls. We're looking coach Will Hardy coming up in a moment. But DeMar DeRozan, the star of the second half in Chicago.
Just horrific. That's the best way to describe it. Lauri Markkanen has 24 points at halftime and 30. So he scores another 6 whole points in the third quarter. And you guessed it, another 2 points in the fourth quarter. Could have had a career night, and the Jazz literally just cannot get him the ball in the second half. Makes absolutely zero sense to me. He's your best player. Was on pace for a career night. I mean, he could have easily scored a 50-piece, but the Jazz don't have a play to just get him the ball. On the low block, it would be nice to get him the ball. On the outside, it'd be nice to get him the ball and maybe let him go ISO a couple times. But to me, I truly believe the rotation is off. I believe Olynyk and Markkanen should not be playing together a majority of the time, and they are. I think they both like to play on the perimeter for the most part. And as you saw in that last play, Lauri switches onto Derozan, and he doesn't score, but then Olynyk can't box out Vucevic, gets second chance points. And so even if Derozan does miss, you're relying on Olynyk out rebounding a big. And it just, it's not going to happen. Like maybe he boxes him out. He boxed him out that one time, and then Vucevic touched it out of bounds. That's the one time we got it. So down the stretch, I just don't get the Olynyk and Markkanen. I just don't get not having any rebounds. If you're going to have Markkanen go guard DeRozan on the perimeter, then there's one less rebounder. So you're relying on Colin Sexton, Jordan Clarkson, and Beasley to get you a rebound. Oh, the second half just did not feel anything like the first half, which to me, the only logical thing that can make sense is we're tanking now. And Kevin, I know this will make you happy because you've been on that boat, but it literally feels like we are tanking now. Kessler doesn't play in the second half. Azubuike, I believe, gets more minutes than Kessler. Yeah, Kessler gets 5 minutes. Azubuike gets 9 minutes, which he hasn't played freaking all year. And Azubuike actually played decently. Jazz have 14 turnovers. It was just a mess, man. That second half was a complete mess. So I've got Armani here. I know what he's going to say. Give Lauri the damn ball, which I can't agree more with. And Kevin. So I'm going to let Kevin go first and then Armani. Go ahead, Kevin. You there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
Dude, I don't know what's going on with Hardy. Like, I don't want to believe that he's trying to tank, but I'm having a hard time seeing anything else.
Yeah, I think the tank's full on. Like that whole second half didn't make sense.
You know I'm all about the tank.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, I want the game to be competitive. I do think we're hampered a little bit by Markkanen's knee. He didn't take the ball inside at all. He just wanted to sit on the perimeter, roll out of screens, and take jump shots, which is fine by me. But he got cold in the second half. Oddly enough, Olynyk was our best shooter in the game. Like, he was hitting his shots. It's hard to win when Clarkson can't get it going too. It's so hard when he can't hit a shot. Because then he starts thinking he can become a passer, and I feel like it completely changes our game when he's not looking for a shot and he's looking for the pass. I know that sounds weird to say it, but it just doesn't flow right.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's points in every game where we just become comfortable sitting. Oh, here's Hardy. So let's hear this genius. Hopefully he just rips him, but I doubt it. Hang on.
we know how we need to play. We know how we play when we're playing at our best, and we're a good team when we play the way we're supposed to. And it's just about us doing that for more than 48 minutes. We have times where we're really locked in defensively and physical and rebounding as a team, and then we drift away from it for a brief period. And then we have times where we're really moving the ball and our spacing's great, and then we drift away from that for a period. So it's about the group sticking together, staying focused on what we can control. There are going to be nights, where free throw shooting is not great. There's going to be times where you turn the ball over at, a tough time, and that's just part of the game. But there is a lot of the game that we do control, our approach, our mental focus, and that's what we have to focus on, as we move into this next stretch of home games.
Is there something that's derailing that focus?
I don't think there's any one thing that's getting in the way. I think we just have to stick to what we're doing. I think everybody on our team has very good intent. I think everybody wants to win. I think at times when the game gets tough, things aren't going your way, you can go into, your default mode. And sometimes that's when we play a little bit too much isolation. The ball doesn't move around as much, and that's natural. So we just have to continue to emphasize the way that we play as a team. We have to continue to emphasize rebounding as a team, which I think for a lot of the game we did well. Some of the plays in the first half, Drummond got a couple tips that he got credited for, and we ended up coming up with the rebound. But it just has to be a full 48 minutes of that focus, because for our team, especially in those areas, we can't drift away from it, because we need everybody to be locked in all those areas.
Was going with Doak over Walker in those stretches, was that just because Drummond is more kind of like a traditional big body center? Or?
Yeah, I like Doak's physicality. Walker has done a lot of things very well, and I thought in that his first run, I thought that Drummond's physicality bothered him a little bit. I thought Doak would give us a good presence. I was actually really happy with how he played. He rebounded well, set good screens. I was really happy for Doak. Again, it's not easy, having not played much at all this season, to be thrown in the middle of that game against a team like that. So really happy for Doak that he stayed ready and performed the way he did. His physicality, I thought, was what we needed at that moment.
Did you guys get away from some of the stuff that you were doing earlier in the game, in the third quarter, particularly when they made their run and kind of caught you guys a little bit?
Yeah, I think, we are, at least going into tonight, we're the best off-ball offense in the NBA. And I thought that in that third quarter, we got away from that a little bit, played a little bit too much pick and roll. The ball got a little bit stagnant. I thought that, we really just lacked the necessary energy on both ends of the court. We're at our best when we're flying around on both sides of the ball. And I didn't think we had that in that third quarter.
Coach, you get an extended homestand here. What's your plan for practice? I know that's been hard to get practice in.
Yeah, we're going to be practicing on these days, in between the games. But our main focus right now is getting our legs back underneath us. Everybody getting to, get some sleep, get some recovery with our medical team. It's great that we're not leaving on a plane tomorrow, which has been kind of the feeling here lately, that we play a home game and then we're right on to a plane. So I think it'll be nice for everybody to wake up tomorrow and just be able to come to the gym without a bag packed.
What do you say about Lauri's game today?
Lauri was very good, especially in the first half. I think, because we play an equal opportunity style when we're flowing up and down, I think that's an area where, as a team, we have to do a better job of recognizing when somebody really has it going. He's drawing a lot of attention from defenses now. That hasn't slowed his production that much. But I think, he's a really good player, very versatile. But I really do think that there are moments of the game where it feels like we forget that he has 30 points. I love when we move the ball around. I love that everybody is aggressive, but I do think there's moments where we can recognize the hot hand a little bit better. But overall, I think Lauri did a great job, mixing up his game. Obviously, his 3-ball was falling tonight, which made it all seem good.
Earlier in the season, you said that you never were going to get mad at someone for missing their free throws, but I think under 40% is
right at 40.
Right at 40?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, right at 40. Make it sound good.
I'll ask them, but I don't think that any of them were trying to miss. So it's hard to – I don't really know what I would say, Damn it, you should make them. That seems like it would just be wasted time for myself and the players. They work on free throws a lot. It's pretty we've had a couple of these games this year where it's not bad. It's like way bad. That's life in basketball, I guess. But yeah, I trust that all of our guys are walking up to the free throw line with the intent to make them.
Talen's had a couple of over 5, 1 for 5 kind of nights in the last few, and I'm just kind of curious if you've seen him through, with good games compared to bad games with him, or what are you telling him at this time?
Yeah, I think Talen's in a tough role coming off the bench as a primary ball handler. I think recently his shot distribution has gone more towards 3 balls and less towards attacking. I think Talen's at his best when he's attacking the paint for himself or for his teammates. I think his threes are sort of like the icing on the cake. I'm not saying that he's not a good shooter. He's shown that he can make threes, but we have plenty of other guys on our team whose identity is a little bit more 3-point shooting, and I think Talen needs to, continue to use his strengths of attacking the paint first, and then the threes are kind of the secondary part of it. That's the only thing that stands out to me. For the most part, I think the 3 balls that he's taken have been pretty good. He's been pretty open, and he's just missed, but he has a real gift to get to the basket, get himself in the paint. I thought when he was, he had those 4 or 5 really good games in a row. I thought that his first instinct was to attack the paint, and I think he's gotten away from that just a little bit. But that could also be partly just the moments of the game that he's in and who he's playing with and the situations that he ends up with the ball. So I'll watch the film tonight and see if there's anything I can do to help him, put him in some better spots so he can use his gifts.
All 3 of these guys, Nickeil, Talen, Colin, a lot since Mike went out. And I know that obviously you don't want Mike hurt, but is it a silver lining that you're able to kind of experiment a little with them and get them more opportunities so you know what you have later on? Absolutely.
I think the hardest part at this level is that you have 15 pro basketball players on your team and not all of them can play. They're all good players. They wouldn't be here if they weren't. And so, moments of the season where you have injuries, it gives you an opportunity to see other guys. It gives them an opportunity to show kind of what they've got and what they can bring to the table. So, I don't mean this in a bad way. I haven't thought about Mike once in the last 3 or 4 days. Just this is who we have. Right, it's about this group right now.
You haven't thought about Mike.
I think all 3 of those guys have had good moments and tough moments. They're all still so young in their careers. Like, they have so far to go. The ceilings on them, we're not sure what they are yet, but I think it's been great to get to see all of them play extended minutes. It's very hard to play basketball in really short stretches. You get 3.5 minutes, and by the time you start sweating, you get subbed out. So I think it's been great to see all them kind of get into the flow of the game a little bit. And they all have stuff that they can bring to the table for us.
Joined by Big T, Thurl Bailey, calling the game tonight with Craig Bolerjack. And T, another tough loss for Utah. Lost it down the stretch. But let's jump back to the first half of this game where.
All right. For me, it's time to start reading between the lines. Like, I know that Coach Hardy's supposed to say all these things, but oh my gosh, man.
He's a horrible salesman, by the way.
Yeah, it's like you haven't thought about Mike. You haven't thought about your best player being out. Come on. And as he was speaking, I'm just looking over at the box score and just like how me and Kevin were saying, like, this just, it doesn't make sense. And as he was speaking, NBA Jazz fan wrote, I think fans are spent. They don't know whether we're trying to win or tank. And to me, like, I thought it was obvious last game. Tonight, I think it was more obvious that we're trying to lose games. You look at Talen Horton-Tucker's minutes go down. All of a sudden, Nickeil Alexander-Walker's playing 15 minutes a game. Azubuike, who hasn't played, is now outplaying Kessler. Makes zero sense. Vanderbilt, I don't even remember him playing in the fourth quarter, which he usually does. And then you finish the game with Olynyk when you can't rebound. I'm going to pass the mic over to someone else. Armani, I know you were requesting. Did someone approve him?
Armani was, and I approved him, and then it was just staying connecting the whole time.
Okay.
So I don't know.
Armani, do you got the mic?
So, Jordan, real fast.
Oh, here. Yeah, go ahead, Kevin, and then I'll go to Armani.
Something Coach said, like, I mentioned this a couple weeks back, like, he doesn't play Kessler against big guys. He doesn't like to play him against the first team. And then he said in the interview, like, he thought that Kessler struggled a little bit, was a little beat up by playing the bigger guy. Is there something wrong between Kessler's ears? Like, does he get butthurt if he gets beat by bigger guys? And I don't mean that rude or whatnot, but, like, Hardy just really babies him a lot, and I don't know why.
Yeah, he could, but like at this point, if Azubuike is going to start playing over Kessler, I think that's doing more damage to Kessler than good. Like,
I don't disagree with you, but am I crazy for thinking like he protects him? Because like when you look at some of the games he's played over the last 10 games, when their number one guy comes in, Kessler comes out. Like, doesn't let him play against the number one bigs. Let him play against the big guy. It blows my mind because Kessler should be able to handle that, and if he can't, he doesn't belong in the NBA.
Yeah, I agree, and I don't think Kessler is dumb by any means. I think he's actually really smart and can learn quickly. Like he got dunked a couple times and then came back with that big block. But I don't know. Like the only thing that honestly makes sense to me is we're tanking now, or we're just throwing games. Armani, I'm going to go to you real quick. Hang on. Did he leave?
No, I accept.
Oh, here we go.
This is very, very, very depressing watching this team play. I'm not going to lie, it's depressing because it's like the way we give up leads makes no actual sense. It makes no basketball sense. You have Lauri who has 24 in the first half. Why is he barely touching the ball in the second half? I can hear this his leg shit all day. Excuse my language, but I can hear this all day. That didn't stop him from running around. That didn't stop him from setting the screen and rolling, not getting the ball in a wide open paint. Two times where I've seen that.
Playing 38 minutes, most of the team.
Minutes. Right. How do you have somebody who played 38 minutes? Most of the shots came in the first half.
Yeah,
he's shooting efficiently. He shot 66% from the field, 66% from the three. Why is he not getting the ball?
Yeah, it's not that hard to. It's not that hard to get a 7-footer the ball either, is a thing. So it's like, why do we not have a play where someone's just ISO'd on one side with him and he's posting them up?
Tell me, like I heard him say, "Yeah, we have an equal opportunity system. We need to figure out how to get somebody the ball." Why is that a problem?
Well, and I actually thought that Hardy in the first half was trying to get him a 50-piece because he played him. He put him in again. Like it's like he was getting extra minutes.
Exactly.
Yeah, it was. So
he's doing what I've been asking him. Like I've been asking to happen. Well, when we was having when the offense and everything was going great, and we still had Conley on the floor. This is kind of the rotations not the rotations, but this is how I would have liked to see his minutes go because we give up a lot of the lead, that we had that we usually get in the in the second quarter. But
that's
Clarkson, I don't have much to say about Clarkson.
Yeah, he
it's
played bad tonight.
If you're missing, you're missing. I can't. Like, it's not like he took a lot of bad shots. He maybe took about like two bad shots around the paint area, but that's whatever. It's like, all right, cool. This is what he does, so I'm not gonna really because other games I'll champion it when he's hitting. So I can't. It's like whatever with that. Claxton, it was He had 17, but it was.
See, I think collectively as a group, everybody looked pretty good in the first half.
Yeah, everybody looked solid.
Yeah, and everything was clicking and like moving the ball. And then it was just like second half, like collectively as a group, it was like, all right, guys, like let's stop doing.
Me that when I seen Azubuike come in the court in the second half, I almost like my body shut down. My body shut down. I was like, yeah, we gotta be tanking. We gotta be tanking.
Yeah, so that's, I mean, the Lauri not getting the ball is like the obvious thing, right?
Yeah,
but the other thing that stands out to me is like
these minutes, the
yeah,
rotations.
where
like, whoa, bro, what?
why is Azubuike getting double the minutes that Kessler is, and why is Alexander-Walker now playing over Talen Horton-Tucker all of a sudden when these two guys were not getting minutes 5 games ago?
You know what bothers me is that Vucevic is the exact type of center that Walker should definitely be guarding.
Yeah,
like, we put him out in games where there's bigs who can over dominate him. Cool, great, beautiful. So why when we have a center in Vucevic who he doesn't get a high volume of touches, he's not going to bang in the paint that much. When he goes into the perimeter, Walker can guard the perimeter against him.
It's perfect, like Kevin said.
Perfect person for him to guard.
Protecting for what?
I don't know. I can't protect Embiid.
Dude, I think you know what I think they're protecting him from? Being in a trade.
But you know what though? We've seen it this year. That great point, Mark. We've seen Kessler, Markkanen, and Azubuike all play. So if they got the big guy in there, okay, put Donk in, let him guard the big guy, and then let Kessler guard the 4. Like we've seen him do it. Like if that's what he wants, if he wants Donk in there to get rebounds, because Donk was the only one boxing out all night long in his 9 minutes, that's fine. But at least give Kessler a chance to guard the 4. But for some reason, coach just protects him from getting hurt. He's afraid his feelings are going to get hurt or something. I don't know. Blows my mind. It pisses me off.
I mean, the other thing that I come up with too, it's like maybe they're trying to make a trade with Conley and Gay, and maybe they believe in him so much that they don't want the league to see how good he is. But I mean, as long as he knows that.
And maybe Doke's part of like a piece that because his contract will expire. So
they're trying to pump up Doke.
My thing is, what I would say is, it would make sense that it looks like we're quote unquote tanking and we're playing messing. And Danny, for whatever reason, has been playing around with the minutes to make it. What would make sense is to show an impact that Mike Conley has to boost up his. I don't know. I can't make this make sense.
But what are you boosting? If the NBA
because if it shows that he has a high impact on winning.
Yeah, like when Chris Paul.
Know what Conley is at this point in his career.
Yeah, but that year that Chris Paul took the Oklahoma City Thunder to the playoffs, I think that like the league was down on him, and I think the league might have the perception that Conley's on his way out. And if we can start losing these games, they can say, wow, Conley can actually run a team, and maybe he is more valuable than we thought. But that's it. I mean, we're either tanking or behind the scenes, there's a trade going down, and we're trying to not include certain people or puff other people up like Doke. Like maybe a team is like, hey, we want to see Doke play. And that's why he got so minutes. I mean, I don't know.
I just felt like maybe Walker was getting traded the way he didn't come back in the game.
Oh, no.
No, dude, they're not trading Walker Kessler.
We're not good. See, you know what I did find that weird is that when they said the report that only Lauri and JC is untouchable. For one, I don't know how JC is untouchable. I love JC. Love him. I don't know how he's untouchable.
I don't think anyone's untouchable for the right
How's
thing.
he part of the core?
But
No, I don't think there's any circumstance that they're letting Lauri go.
like to me, the most solid ones would be Lauri, probably Clarkson because he's been around and they see him as a piece with something. Malik Beasley and Kessler. That's about it.
Yeah, that's only four. That's just the only. Yeah, that's about the only four that I would actually sit there and be like, yeah, no, we need to hold on to that.
I don't even think Beasley's untouchable. I think he's one of our best trade chips.
Yeah, he could be. He could be.
Yeah. He's a 50-50. It's just like, all right, cool. Like, is he like a main core piece to a championship team? Yes and no.
What drives me nuts though is the cop out by Will Hardy to say that it was an equal opportunity and then they don't go to him in the second half. Like the team knew he was hot in the first half. That's why they kept feeding him.
Listen, there's one thing that I said during the thread. Colin Sexton is definitely the biggest hater on the scene. He has a habitual problem. He has a habitual problem with giving people the ball when they're hot.
Well, I even tweeted out, is Colin Sexton related to Patrick Beverley? Because like they have that same insane mentality. Like they do one thing and it's just like the greatest thing in the world, but then they forget the very next play to do what actually matters. Yeah, Orca, I want to hear a little bit more from you. Like, what are your thoughts? Do you have any of these? I've been called a conspiracy theorist lately because of these things, but I truly believe. I mean, the Jazz have been linked with Shams to John Collins, so like obviously we're in trade talks. But what's your take? What are we doing here?
Well, Kevin and I spent a whole show on this, but I want to say that I think maybe we're making a move to further the tanking process. I really don't think that we're trading any major pieces away to go for the playoffs. I think we're.
But my problem with that is, what more tanking do we need to do when we have 3 first-round picks? We can trade up all the way up to the 4th pick.
And with Cat going out today, the Timberwolves are screwed.
And that pick look,
so now maybe we have 2 top 10 picks. I don't know.
Well,
we talked about. I was saying, me and Dallin, we talked about this the other day. I don't know why, but I just got this feeling that he is going to move one of our picks for multiple first-round picks next year.
Yeah, I totally see that.
And the easy way to do that is if best case scenario, we get 2 top 10 picks with us and Minnesota. He can move one of those for 2 first rounds the following year. I mean, I know that's a little bit of a stretch, but to your point, and I like to give you shit, Jordan, and I'm all about the tank, but how can we be that good for that long and all of a sudden this bad? And that's why like the conspiracy is so loud right now, because nothing makes sense. Like even me, who wants to lose every single game and get Wemby, is having a hard time believing what's going on right now.
Did it make sense that this team that we thought was going to originally tank just started?
I personally didn't feel like this team was going to be a tanking team. Looking at the rosters, just its natural talent, I didn't think it was just a tanking team.
Well,
I think it was a 500 team.
Let me update you on the standings because we're currently only a game ahead of the Minnesota Timberwolves, and we've only won 12 games. Like, so we could easily get the last place spot if we truly wanted to. These bottom teams right now have won 5 games. The next team, San Antonio and Charlotte Hornets, have won 6 games. So, like, I mean, I don't know if it's developed these players in the first half and then just, the rotation didn't even make sense. I mean, you could totally lose a game by just a rotation. Say, like Hardy said, I don't know what you want me to go tell them to shoot better. Like,
I think having 2 top 10 picks almost guarantees you like a top 3 pick.
So I was at the game tonight, and I ended up taking my brother. And between him and I, he and I both noticed one thing that I've been kind of thinking about for the past probably 7 or 8 games now, but it really stood out to me today, I think, just because I was hyper-focused on the game, obviously.
Wait. Tevin, I just want to say welcome.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate that. The big thing, Vando started to actually try, which was nice, but then he diverted very quickly back to his normal not giving a crap self. But the bigger thing that I really want to point out is I feel like I'm just not on the Olynyk train anymore. I thought he was a decent piece that would help keep us.
I'm so far off that train.
Around the 500 ball, and I think he set one good pick the entire night. Other than that, he was either complaining or he wasn't setting good screens. I'm like, I'm off this train.
It drives me nuts to that point where he gets the ball so outside of the 3-point arc and he doesn't know what to do. Like he acts like he's gonna dribble and then hesitates and goes back and then goes back. It's like irritates me.
Yes, he looks back and forth going, okay, who's gonna take the ball? And it's like, well, honestly, but they shouldn't have passed it to you in the first place. You're just kind of a fifth guy there to take it. And
bro, in my opinion, him and Lauri together is so bad because they both want to be on the perimeter. And if you have Lauri and him in, it totally cramps up what Lauri's trying to do. Lauri needs the space to either go inside on a little guy, or if he has a bigger guy, go out, shoot the three, and then as the big guy comes out, be able to drive past him. But Olynyk's too slow to do any of that. And I just think it messes up.
I was shocked when he drove in. I can't remember who he drove in on, but when he drove in on whoever it was and got that and one, I didn't even think he was going to get a foul call, honestly. But when he got the foul call, man, and one, I was like, well, at least he gets one highlight for the night.
Yeah, cut it to 3, and then that was it.
Armani, you don't agree? Why?
I don't agree that Lauri and Olynyk doesn't play good together. They play above solid. It's not bad. It's far from bad. You can't say it's bad. I think they need an actual big on the court with them. I do believe that.
100% agree with you. That's what I was going to say.
Because Olynyk can play the 4.
Yeah. I'm just saying, so. Like if you have Lauri or Olynyk in, the other one needs to be off the court. Or, I mean, unless Lauri plays the 3 and you have a big in with Olynyk, like...
and Lauri can play the 3.
That's what Lauri plays. Lauri plays the 3. He plays the 3 and the 4. That's what he plays the 3 and the 4. He plays a lot of minutes at the 4. When
I know, but when Olynyk and Lauri are in, Olynyk's the 5 and Lauri's the 4.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah. But there's no Vanderbilt,
yeah. When we went on that run in the end of the second, you had Olynyk, Lauri, and Donk all in the game. And the floor spacing, the floor spacing was great.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
It was surprisingly good with that lineup. I thought they were going to run, and I'd love to see more to see if this works more. Kelly Olynyk and Lauri Markkanen pick and roll, just to see if Lauri can really control that, whether he does a step back type of thing or rolls with Olynyk and Olynyk can just deliver like that. I think that might be interesting.
The problem with Lauri and Olynyk being your bigs is there's no rebounding. Like, because either one of them is shooting the ball outside, and on offense, one of them's going to have to guard on the outside as well, or when we're on defense. But yeah, if you have Doak, Vanderbilt, or Kessler in with those two, and Lauri running the 3, that's probably the only time it works in my mind. And
well, to the point of the lineup with Doak in there as well, that's kind of why either have Doak or Kessler in, because you have them as a backside rebound to help box out and rebound on the backside. That's why I kind of like that one, because I didn't think it was going to work with Doak in there, but it actually did, and I kind of liked it.
Like I said, and he's a good rebound. I'd like to see that lineup some more, and then I'd like to see him flip Kessler in there too. It's like, I don't know. It's like they feel so obligated to get Vanderbilt back in the game. And when you can't put Vanderbilt at the 2, so if you have those 3 in there, he's on the bench. But you know what? If we're blowing the other team up, then stick with it. Like
I think we need to be in a position where Vanderbilt comes off the bench as a 3 or a 4. Not a real 3, but you know what I'm saying, but a 3 or 4. We have Kessler starting with Olynyk and Lauri. We have Dalton getting maybe 5 to 8 minutes behind Kessler at center. Not too many minutes. Vando being able to play the 3 to 4 and the 5, depending on who else is on the court. I think that is a way more versatile way to use the front court instead of the way that we're using the front court. There's no reason to just sit there and have Vando, Lauri, and Olynyk on the court at the same time. It doesn't work. It's solid. It's one of some games, but it's.
So would you start Sexton, Clarkson, Markkanen, Olynyk, and Kessler?
Yeah, I would.
Here's what I would do. I would move,
and then we can start, and we can move the rotations.
I like that.
I would go Sexton, Beasley, Vando, Lauri, and Kessler, and then you got Olynyk and Clarkson off the bench because they can just sit there and run the pick and roll and eat it alive. Beasley's better at coming off of a screen and shooting, but if you run Clarkson with Olynyk, pick and roll, he can pick and pop, pick and roll, or Clarkson can just come off and go score. I think those two would eat second units alive.
To that point, I'm surprised Colin Sexton doesn't run more pick and rolls with the big guys because,
he's not great.
He doesn't know how to make reads.
He doesn't have pick and roll IQ.
Well, that was the coach's excuse.
But to just further to that point, I wish he would get better in that because he has that mid range that he can get to by himself, which props to him for being able to do so. But I think he'd be even more wide open and more dangerous if he was able to do it in a pick and roll. But that's just me, because then he would have his roll option where he can just shoot it by himself, or he'd get, after he shoots it often enough, obviously the defense has to then go over, and then he can have the dive option. I just wish he'd get better at that. That's just me.
The thing with Sexton to me is that, for me personally, Sexton is exactly who he is. I think he's only going to get a smidget better at reading the pick and roll, but this is his game. It's not his game is a great game. It's a solid game. He's valuable for damn near every team in the league. But at the same time, this is the best we're going to get. It's just about subpar, not terrible defense. Just a little bit on the average defense.
We're terrible on defense.
I'm talking about just him individually. Yeah, we're terrible on defense, but he's subpar on defense. Highly energetic. He can get the ball. He can get the pace going. I think he's just a change of pace player. He can get some fouls for the second unit that the second unit won't be getting by themselves unless it's THT. But THT is not driving like that anymore. I just think he's a second unit player.
Yeah, he could be. I'm gonna get to comments real quick. We've got Calvin Howard. I know is on the East Coast. I think you requested to speak, but then it went away. So if you want to speak, request it again, and Dallin, you can approve it. But let me get to these real quick. Calvin says, I think Doak and Kessler is situational. Doak against bigger and stronger centers. Kessler was getting beat by Vooch. Yeah, I agree. I think that as surprising it was that Doak played tonight, I thought he did good. I thought he did decent on Vooch. Olynyk is the problem. I couldn't agree with you more. I agree with Armani. I couldn't agree with you more. It needs to be Kessler or Doak. And then Abraham. I think Abraham's been in here. This is his first time. He says, bro, for real, we should let this loss get us because we should have expected this. I'm not sure what you mean by that, but
I think he's echoing what I've been saying is that the Jazz aren't that good of a team, and we outplayed our weight in the first 12 games of the season. I think is what he's getting at.
I'm really not sure if that's actually it because
that's definitely not it.
Let's give Calvin the mic. Go for it.
I think one thing that we have to look at is the team. We have a young coach, and we don't have a veteran point guard. We're in every single one of these games. It's not like we're going in and getting blown out. I just went through the last 10 games. there are spots in the last 5 minutes of the game that we are within 3-4 points in every game. So I think a lot of this, we're talking about all of these things that we need to try differently. I think it really comes down to Will Hardy and then trying to find somebody who could actually run the point more effectively. And I think, honestly, Jordan Clarkson probably does the best job at it right now. I think he needs to tweak around with that lineup a little bit until Mike Conley gets back, because all of these games are all clutch. Every single one of them, except for Golden State, have been lost in the clutch.
So, Calvin, I'm going to push back a little bit, because you can't tell me that the first half was completely different than the second half.
You mean wasn't?
Yeah, it wasn't. They weren't the same halves. We didn't play the same basketball or the same rotations or lineup.
Wait, the mic cut off. I didn't hear what you said. What
I said, as much as I think it's a veteran point guard, I'll agree with that it is a point guard issue, because we don't know who, like, we have Sexton running it, we have Na running it, we have THT running it, we've got Jordan running it, Beasley has ran it. It's like, yeah, you go from Sexton being the consistent point guard the first half, and then the second half, it's just like someone different, it felt like, was running it every time up the floor. So it's like, if you're going to have Jordan run it, I think he can run it, but does he know that he's supposed to run it? Like, I don't think these guys know, because the rotation's so messed up in the second half that none of it made sense.
No, I really honestly think it's because of the fact that everybody believes this is an equal system, that's a part of the issue.
That could be. Yeah.
Not that it's a problem, but it's at the same time, there's no hierarchy. The greatest hierarchy we do have is everybody's trust in JC
and Conley,
and
JC Conley and
playing.
Mike Beasley coming off a down screen.
And to Calvin's point, maybe this comes down to a rookie coach being out coached in the second half. Maybe he's not making the adjustments like some of these veteran coaches are. I like Will Hardy a lot, and I think we give him a lot of credit for what he did in the first 16 games of the season, but he still is a rookie coach. Correct me if I'm wrong, but he was only a full assistant coach for 1 year in Boston, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I
Yes,
can get on board with that, because I even had that thought tonight. Like, is Hardy letting the pressure get to him, especially with now 5 losses in a row? Is he starting to make bad decisions just because he feels that pressure so much? Because I think
did he get away with it the first 15 games because nobody knew about his system?
No, I think the first, when he was winning, right? Like, it's easier to make good decisions when things are going good. But then when things are going bad, like, just think about your own life. Like, when there's stress or something bad going on, it's harder to have a clear mind. And so that could be a very valid point. That
the other thing too is, I'm sure there's no pressure on him from the front office to win whatsoever.
Right.
Like, he basically has a blank check this season. And so he's trying different things. He's probably trying to find himself. He's probably trying to figure out which stats he wants to watch, which, metrics he wants to believe. I think he's experimenting, because honestly, I don't think it matters if he wins or loses. I think the front office supports him.
Yeah, I think
that he is.
For sure.
He definitely is doing a lot of experimenting, but I think the other thing is the weakest position out in this entire lineup is the point guard. And he's trying to make point guards who really aren't point guards, whether it's Law or THT or Colin 100% point guards. And that's the most important position when it comes to executing down the stretch. So I think that we're not, between him not having Mike, who he admittedly leans on, and then he's a rookie coach himself, I think half these games probably could have easily been won with Mike Conley. Injuries are a part of the game, but I don't think we should be like, everything's on fire and stuff like that. That's why me personally, I'm not upset, or I get into the game. It's kind of, you see those things that are happening. So
yeah, and I think part of the hard thing with the fan base is we won those first games. So to the casual fan, it can be really confusing on what's going on. And it might have set an expectation that, hey, we are a playoff team and we're not. I think I've fallen into that too, but I think the most exhausting thing for the fans is not knowing what is going on because how we started the season.
Yeah, I want to ask Calvin a question only because he's been pushing back a lot on the tanking aspect of everything, and I understand why. I mean, as a fan, you don't want to watch your team lose; it's not fun. But I want to know what you think the ceiling of this team is, because I think even with Conley in the lineup, I think that we've been getting unlucky as of late in the games. But I feel like at the beginning of the season, we also got pretty lucky. I mean, we seemed to win every single close game, so shots just kept falling at a rate, and even the contested shots were falling at a rate where these players aren't going to make that consistently. So I'm just kind of gauging, because I think that the ceiling, even with Conley back, is probably around 500. I just wanted to see what you thought.
I think ceiling is fringe home court.
I think ceiling with Mike Conley is a first round win in the playoffs.
Yeah, all that depends on the matchups.
I personally felt like before the season started that this was a 500 team or above 500. I think the maximum wins that we could get is about 46, maybe. And I feel like the bottom we can possibly get, if shit was really just to go shit, if everything was just go to shit with the same exact roster, I think at bare minimum we're going to win about 37 wins.
I think it was going to be 500. I mean, pretty much regardless, because you got to look at Lauri Markkanen. When's the last time he's played over 70 games? Mike Conley played 72 last year, but he has an injury-filled history. And you take those two out of the equation, you're going to have real problems. So I always kind of felt that at best they were 500 because those injuries are coming.
Well, let's ask my 2-year-old son what he thinks. Come here, bud. He just woke up. What do you think is the ceiling of the Utah Jazz? What do you think? You don't know? You watched the game though.
That's about how we all feel. So
He's still a little.
Exactly. I don't know.
He's still a little asleep.
Fan base with that one.
Well, I better end this because my wife's coming home from working the Jazz game. If she sees my kids are up, I might not be alive tomorrow. So we'll
never hurt you.
Yeah, but
too much to keep you alive.
I burnt the turkey on Thanksgiving, so I'm not on good terms right now. So
Thanks for hosting.
Yeah, we'll see you guys again on Wednesday. We've got the Clippers at home. Luckily, we've got a 6-game homestand. They shared a pretty cool stat. We won't be we won't change time zones in the next 20 days. So I think we'll get a real feel for what this team is. Maybe they're still a little tired, but personally, I'm back. I'm not back, but I'm on the tank. I think we're tanking. So appreciate you guys for tuning in. Share it, rate it, comment it, whatever. And we will see you guys Wednesday. Thanks. That was loud sound, huh? Come here, bud.
Fake left inside. That goes off the rim. The ball tip. And it's free. Picked up. Goes through the
Guys worked hard defensively to get back possession. Those take advantage of the second opportunity.
Clarkson on the push here. Deflecting 2-3. Beats it out. Vucevic with the rebound. He's number 5 in the league in rebound. Really for the game. Ball is in and the one goes out by Williams. Snowy night outside with an empty crowd. A little late. Rolling inside River Arena. Section fell out dribble on the wing. Over the top and goes out of the way. So the first turnover for the Vikings. They had 12 in all in Phoenix Saturday night. And I'll be honest, he not a bad job taking care of the ball. There's Billy Donovan. Once drafted. He got a little stick with Utah Jazz as well.
Yeah, that was the impact.
Was 85, I believe, right? Inside bucket, Vucevic. We got a timeout. First of this game. Jazz by a bucket in Salt Lake.
With Wingstop Mayo Chicken Sandwich, you know they're going to make just one. Now you can have 12 new sauce and sauce favorites like lemon pepper, mango habanero, and OG hot. So try the new chicken sandwich for only $5.49 at Wingstop, where flavor gets its wings.
Hey there, cleans every inch of chrome car washer. We love your style. Are you taking the line to the parking lot while cleaning that same stuff for a third time? You know it. With your impressive attention to detail, you've got the focus right in the road. Literally and figuratively. And when it's time for the next new chapter scrub, try Vanguard. The listening skills as thorough as your scrubbing technique. Hey, we do.
You've been in an accident, and now you have a choice to make. With Sitka and Jensen, the signs are clear. We're here for you 24/7. The call is free, the consultation is free, and our team is with you all the way. Don't get lost after an accident. Call Sitka and Jensen today.
Let's listen to the news to go through earlier than expected. Coming in Philly Black Friday sale. StreamYard partners with Roku Streamer Center, so you get internet with unlimited data for $55 a month. Plus, get a free Flex 12-page business box. And for a limited time, get HBO Max included for 1 year.
Drop everything. Get to the Xfinity Black Friday sale. Let's call or visit a store today. Dear Mom, ever since I came over, you and Dad have shown me what matters most. You taught me to enjoy learning new skills and to embrace new beginnings. I'll always appreciate the stories you shared and how you took the time to create new memories with me. I never knew that holding on would be as memorable as the big game. But most importantly, thanks for showing me what makes the house better.
Well, we flash back a few years. Lauri Markkanen, 4 seasons with Chicago. 2 games was the 7th pick back in 2017. And during his stay with Chicago, 16 points, 6 rebounds. And that's what he's done here with the Utah Jazz. He only has 22 points and 8+ boards a game.
So it's just been a great start. We've been looking for this for a while. Doing all kinds of ways. Post up, 3-point shot, looking fresh early on. One deeper at the top there. What Bill Garnett said, he said, while he was in Chicago, he thinks one of the issues was that some of the pressures put on these guys when they're high pick, right? And finally, I think Lauri's now on the table to start to set from all of these places like Chicago.
And then when you're 19, 18, 20, it's hard to make that adjustment into the spectrum. You want to make a great point. You're the 7th pick back in 83. Times have changed since those days.
And there was some instability with the franchise. He had 3 different head coaches during his time there. Some of them believed in him and hired him. He scored 26 points a game last season, but then things changed. So had to settle back a little bit.
Yeah, you're right, Boyd. There was no expectation for me that this game was played.
And the rest is history. For number 31. And now Olynyk's got 41 on his back. He'll go inside, draws a foul. Kelly Olynyk continues on to Gonzaga. He had 2 points and 2 block shots, 16 fouls against Phoenix.
Really love the way he plays. And not just on the offensive end. He's very deceptive, right? He may not be the most athletic one on the court, but he uses his body well to high IQ basketball IQ as a player. Williams looking for that foul.